Ever had this happen where you have a workout planned, but you wake up that morning and you're still sore from your last workout? So you think, what can I do? I don't want to miss a workout, but I also feel so sore, probably in your chest and back, these large muscle groups from doing press and pulling movements. So what do? So I'm going to show you the workout I do in that situation, because I'm actually in the same spot. I'm still sore from Monday's workout. Here we are on Wednesday. So what we're gonna do is focus in on smaller muscles that in the arms and shoulders that recover faster than the large muscles of the chest and back, where we still get a great upper body workout and without overdoing it on any muscles. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and hit that like button for me. It helps support this channel. And it also lets me know that this is the sort of content you want to see more of. So we're going to be doing a resistance band workout for the arms and shoulders. So I'm going to start out by using a slightly lighter band. This I think is about a 10 to 15 pound band. I'm going to warm up with that and then go to a heavier band, so I'm not just jumping straight into a heavy workload. So the first exercise I'm going to do is for the tricep, which runs along the back of your arm. So this is called a skull crusher. It's a terrible name, but trust me, it's not nearly as bad as it sounds. What you're going to do is you're going to bring your hands to your ears and your elbows up above your shoulders. Very important your elbows aren't down here with your hands up by your ears. You want your elbows high and in. So I'm pointing my elbows straight to the front. From here, what I'm gonna do is push out forward, trying to straighten my elbows. So let me show you from a side view. So I'm pulling to where there's tension in that band and then pushing out towards the front. So this is engaging those tricep muscles that run along the back of your elbow all the way into your shoulder. So all through here. And this, if you feel it in your chest, your elbows are flared out too much. So we want to keep those elbows in to limit how much that chest is doing. So I shouldn't feel this really all in my chest. It's all from those arms. I'm going to do 10 reps of this, warming up that muscle, getting blood flow into the muscle, getting it ready to work. Now I like this because we're still doing a pushing movement for the arms without having to rely on that chest that's sore. If you've ever had a time where you are still sore from the last workout and then try and work that muscle, not only are you probably not able to push as hard, but you're also potentially even risking an overuse injury of putting too much strain on an already strained muscle. So we want to avoid that. We want to let the muscle heal, recover, and build strength. Because when you actually let that muscle heal, give it the time it needs to actually recover from that soreness, it comes back stronger because you put the work already. We don't want to, it would be like building a house. So we, or renovating a house, we tear down a wall, and then instead of letting that wall be rebuilt again in the new form, we just tear it down again. We wouldn't make any progress that way. Same thing with your body. We've torn it down a little bit from working out. Now we're letting it rebuild. So we're giving that muscle a break. So the second exercise we're going to do is a modification of a cable curl. So I'm using a resistance band instead. I want to anchor this down low. So it should be about at your hand height. So if you put your hand by your side, that's about how high that cable or band should be. Because you want it pulling straight back when your arm is extended, when your elbow is straight, basically. So from here, one cable in each hand, or one handle in each hand rather, and then stepping back till you feel that pulling you back. So this puts a high amount of tension in the most lengthened position of the muscle. And that's gonna be really beneficial for building the bicep muscle, which runs from the front of your shoulder down into the inside of your elbow. So this, I wanna bring my chest up straight, pulling up to the front, and then back down. So I'm really putting that tension, not here, but down in this part of the movement. And that's the advantage of having the resistance band, because I can choose what direction that band is pulling. Going for about 10 reps of this to warm up that muscle. You should feel that bicep contracting against that band. Now, one thing I would say is make sure the band's not gonna slide around on you. So if you can, hook it underneath something. I have a pin here that will help it from sliding around on me. So I can put that right here. So whatever you anchor it to, make sure it's secure. So I like to do one warm-up set to get blood flow into the muscle, and then I go into what's called a working set, where I increase it to a challenging weight for me. So when you're picking your resistance band, I would try and pick a resistance band that is challenging for you at 10 repetitions. So once you should feel tired by the 10th rep. So we're doing a pair of exercises. We're doing a skull crusher and a resistance band curl as a pair, working both sides of the arm. And we're gonna do that for 3 sets. So going back to the skull crusher. Bringing the hands to the ears, elbows tucked in. Now, if you want to, you can step 1 foot forward so it doesn't feel like you're being pulled off balance. That's totally fine. Just make sure your elbows are in and up. And from here, straighten your hands out towards the front. Now, it's okay if you're at a little bit of an angle. You don't have to bring them down here. So the important part, though, is your elbows stay high. Elbows stay above the shoulder and tucked in. You should feel that tension on the back of your arm as you do this. I'm trying to go for around 10 reps. Now, if you can get a few more or a few less, that's okay. It doesn't have to be exactly 10, but I find that 10 reps is a good place to shoot for, especially if you're just starting out. But the entire goal is to feel tired in the muscle. If you don't feel tired at 10, try to do a few more. And if a few more doesn't make you feel tired, try a heavier band. Now I'm trying to go all the way back to my ears to really bend my elbows. I'm almost trying to touch my bicep with my forearm. So I'm really trying to, I'll tell you in a second. So I'm trying to bring my hand all the way back to where it bumps into my arm. It can't go anymore, because that's gonna put the maximum stretch, the maximum tension on that tricep muscle, and that's what helps it to grow faster. Excuse me a moment. Because that's what we're doing with all these exercises, is putting tension on the muscle to promote growth. And that's why this is such an effective exercise to do a band curl, because I'm putting tension on the most lengthened part of that movement for that bicep curl. So it's maximizing how much growth happens in that muscle. So you should feel a ton of tension on that band as you go back. If the band goes slack, you need to step a little further away. The bicep is what is called a biarticulating muscle. It works at both the shoulder and the elbow. So that's why I'm bending or straightening from the elbow. I'm also bringing my hands back because that puts my shoulder into extension. So I'm putting a lot of stretch into that bicep at both sides of the muscle, both at the elbow and at the shoulder. I'm gonna try for 2 more. Nope. So we're gonna stop right about there. So I'm going until I feel that muscle fatigue, aiming for trying to go for about 1 or 2 reps in reserve. And what that means is if I really had to, I could maybe do 1 or 2 more if I really was trying. And that's where I'm hitting near that failure point every time. You don't have to go all the way to failure. It's more likely, in a moment. Got my band, sorry about the loud noise there. Got my band stuck. So you don't have to go all the way to failure, but the approaching failure is an important part of working out, where you're challenging that muscle, and that's what's helping it to grow. You're challenging it, you're adding tension, and you're promoting growth. So now we're going back to our second set of skull crushers. Bring your elbows in, hands to your ears, pushing out towards the front. Now I'm trying to aim again for about 10, but as you go, you will probably feel more fatigued. So don't feel like you have to get to 10, just go to where you feel tired in that muscle. The advantage of doing it this way, where we're going from one muscle to the other, is that while one muscle is working, the other muscle is relaxing. So one muscle is resting, one muscle is working. That's the advantage of supersets, because you can get a workout in much less time. And relax. So as you go, you might feel the muscle be more shaky and a little slower. That means you're approaching that failure point. Just make sure that you're keeping good technique through the entire movement. You're not letting your elbows deviate out or down, because then you're losing the benefit of that exercise. I'm just gonna take a quick second and move this out of the way so it doesn't jam again. So anchoring the band around something secure, we're going back into a bicep curl using a resistance band. So anchoring it right at where your arms are at your sides, right at that height. From here, stepping forward till you feel that band pulling you back. Then we're bicep curling up. This is putting all that tension into the bottom of the movement. Now, if you've done standard curls where you're doing like a dumbbell or a barbell or an easy curl bar, those are not bad curls, but I found for me, this exercise hits the biceps so much more intensely, where I really feel the muscle working in a much more dramatic way. In the standard curl, I feel it much more in my forearms. In this curl, I feel it much more in my biceps. And I've noticed a larger amount of growth in my biceps over the last year doing the curls this way. Now, if you do have dumbbells instead, you could always do this laying on a bench. It's the same concept though of laying the arm deviate back. So you'd be laying down on your back and letting the dumbbell hang off the bench and pulling up to the front, just like that. Same movement, we're just doing it with a resistance band, providing that force. So that was our second set. We're gonna go for 3 sets of this in total. Try and get as much as we can out of the muscles of the arm. Then we're gonna move to the muscles in the shoulder. So even if you feel sore in your chest or back, you should be able to do these exercises without putting extra strain on those muscles. So that's why I like this workout. It's because even when I'm tired from a previous workout, I can still get progress on some of the muscles in my upper body. I can work on the muscles that recover much faster. If you think about it, the chest muscle, the lats, these are very large muscle groups. They are large pieces of muscle that take a lot more time to recover, as opposed to the smaller muscles in your arm and shoulder are much faster to come back and be ready to go again. So the triceps and biceps are smaller than the lats and the pecs, so they take less time to recover. And then the deltoid muscles of your shoulder are even smaller than that, so they are even faster to recover. Some people even work those out every day. I'm not one of those people, but I do like to work them out more often than my chest and back. This is our third set. It's our last set for this exercise. And relax. You should feel that really burning in the back of your arm. And last set of bicep curl. Stepping forward, feeling that tension in the band, pulling you back. Keep that chest up so you're not letting your shoulders collapse down. Keep your chest pushed forward and really trying to pull up from those elbows. So you're trying to bend that elbow up, really contracting that bicep. Need to step it just a little further back. As I go back, I try and go all the way back, hold for a moment, and then come back up so I'm not bouncing out of that movement. I'm not using my muscle like a rubber band. That puts it at more risk of injury to use it more plyometrically. There are some sports where you need to train that ability, but you would train into that slowly, building up strength in that muscle first, and then building that plyometric strength. So I'm always going to be an advocate for doing things safely and reducing your chance of injury. So that's why I like this in a controlled movement really working that full range of motion to reduce the risk of injury, to have all parts of that muscle strengthened. So we're not doing a limited range where the only part of the muscle is getting strong. We're trying to go through that full range of motion all the way to the back so that the entire muscle length builds and strengthens. So, next thing we're gonna do is for these muscles in the shoulder. And we're going to do a banded lateral raise. So for this, I'd pick a lighter band than you might think. This is a very difficult movement. It's a small set of muscles. They recover quickly, but it takes a lot of effort to do a heavy band. So what you're gonna do, attach the band to something stable. I like to double loop this one so both carabiners are connected to one handle. If you're using the two bands that I use, if you wanna know what those are, I have a link down below that helps support the channel. So if you're interested, that would help me out. It wouldn't cost you any extra. Appreciate you guys taking a look. But what I do with mine is I put it behind my back. So for a lateral raise, I want my hand to come straight out to the side. So if the cable is behind my back, it stops my hand from going forward into a more anterior deltoid. I'm hitting really that side delt and forcing my body to use that by putting the cable behind, or the band behind my back. I said cable because you can also do this with a cable, but for a resistance band lateral raise, putting the band behind my back. And then, so I should feel tension here at the very bottom of the movement. So if you don't feel tension, if there's slack in the band, where I'm out here, try and step to where you feel that pull all the way when your hand's at your side. From here, I'm gonna lift up to the side. Now I don't want my thumb pointed up. I want it pointed straight towards the front. So I'm lifting straight out, feeling that right here in the top of my shoulder, and then back down. Going as high as my shoulder, and then back down, trying to go for about 10 reps of this. Now, if you feel like you're wrapping around your body, you're too far forward. So keep that band behind your back. And that way you know you're going straight out to the side. You're not cheating, and you're not cheating yourself out of a rep. Going for about 10 reps each side. I would start with your non-dominant side. Because that way, if there's a discrepancy between the two sides, you're not cheating yourself out of your non-dominant side. So we wouldn't want it to be one side gets really big and the other side doesn't get quite as big. We want it to be even. So that's why I'd recommend starting with your non-dominant side if you're just starting out. That way you can, for me personally, it doesn't matter too much because I know both sides can do about the same. Because I've kept it very even working out the entire time. So they progressed together. Now while I'm working my left side, my right side is recovering. Trying to not lift my shoulder up towards my ear. I'm trying to keep my shoulders down, just lifting my hand out to the side. And that was our first set. So I like to do 3 sets of these as well. So 1 per side. So doing 10 reps per side is 1 set. So this is our second set, going back towards our original hand, doing 10 reps out to the side. I'm gonna turn just a little bit like this. Now this part down here is the most important part of the movement. Not so much this top part, but going all the way back down to your side and having that tension pulling you down. And switching to the other side. So I should step far enough away where I feel that tension pulling me back. I do this like this. So I'm lifting up to the side and then back down. Now the thumb position makes it so you're going directly down the middle of the shoulder. If my thumb was pointed up or down, it would change that to either the front of the shoulder if it was pointed up, or more the back of the shoulder if it was pointed down. So having my thumb point straight down the middle puts it right down the middle of that deltoid muscle. I personally don't like the pointed down. Some people do, because it actually narrows the gap where your nerve runs through in your shoulder. And if you've ever hit your funny bone, which is right back in here, it's the same nerve that runs right through here. So imagine hitting your funny bone in your shoulder while you're lifting weights. That's not a fun thing. So that's why I don't like the thumb down variation, because it can suddenly just hit that nerve. If something just closes just a little bit too much, and it can cause what's called a shoulder impingement, where you hit that nerve and you get nerve pain in your shoulder. It's not fun. So we want to make sure that shoulder doesn't get aggravated. That's why I like this thumb pointed straight forward position. Now, lifting out to the side, I'm only going as high as my shoulder, because for the same reason as not pointing your thumb down, I'm only going to here because for some people, going up higher can also aggravate that nerve. Now for me, it doesn't do that, but in general, if you want to be safe, if you want to not risk it, this is a great way of avoiding that by keeping that at shoulder height or below. Also, all of this tension in this part of the movement is really what's probably building the deltoid the most anyway. So we don't need to go high anyway. And then one more time on that left-hand side. So once I get above my shoulder, I'm using more of that neck anyway to lift up the shoulder. So from here to here, it's the deltoid though. So when I get above here, it's mostly my neck. So nothing wrong with that, but for really targeting into that shoulder, I can do it all with this below shoulder range. So staying straight and tall, thumb towards the front, lifting up to the side, trying for about 10 reps. You should feel that burning in the top of your shoulder. Now, it's important to not turn towards that arm. That's another way that you can cheat the movement, where the front deltoid takes over for this. Show you that in just a second. Three more. And relax. So if I was to do this movement, if I'm lifting up to the side, if I turn like this towards the movement, now I've actually angled my arm forward. So that front deltoid has taken over for the side deltoid. So I'm not getting that width in my shoulder, because the side deltoid is what helps build up that width. Front deltoid is all here. It's a little, imagine sort of a finger of muscle right in the front of your shoulder. So it can take over very easily for that movement by pulling your arm forward, So if I turn, I've done the same thing as if I were to bring my arm out in front of me. So hopefully that helps. If you like this sort of content and want to see more, I host these live streams on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So hope to see you guys.